Hi, my name's Maddie and welcome to my YouTube channel. So right now it's September, which basically means it's October, and I have been reading a ton of vampire romance novels, and I've been in such a mood for vampire romances. So I figured today I would go ahead and give some of my favorite vampire romance recommendations. Up first I have the Dracula Duet by Karina Halley, and this is a Dracula retelling, and the main female character is a vampire slayer, and she's trying to kill who is Dracula is inspired by. And I just absolutely love the series. I was in such a reading slump for such a long time and just trying to find a good romance novel, and I wasn't expecting to find it in this book, but let me tell you, this rocked my world. Oh my gosh, I have never read a book so fast before. I flew through this. I just absolutely loved every piece of it. The second book is really good as well, but just this first book was just absolutely amazing. You got enemies to lovers and fooling each other, and just everything about this book was amazing, so highly recommend it. The next book I'm going to recommend is a very beloved series to me. It is one of the series I read that got me back into reading. It is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. I love this series so much. The series is written with a very early 2000s vibe to it, so it is written a little bit odd and a little peculiar for early 2000s, for the early 2000s, but I love this series so much. Basically, it's this group of vampire warriors and kings and nobility, and each vampire kind of gets their own romance. It is a very long series. It is 20 plus books, but let me tell you, it is amazing, and it has spin-off series, so you want to read all about them, but I absolutely love it. The first probably I don't know, 10 to 12 are my favorites. That's crazy to say, but I just really love the series, and I can't wait to get the next one. I'm in the middle of Darius right now, which is the prequel to the entire series and how it all kind of starts, so absolutely amazing, and I just love anything by J.R. Ward. The next book I'm going to recommend is A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows by Holly Renee. This is a book I had read recently, and I haven't read the rest of the series. I've only read the first one, but absolutely incredible for a fantasy adult romance. Amazing. Loved it. Basically, it's about this girl. She is star-blessed, and there are the royalties are vampires and such, so they get powers from the star-blessed and such, and the more they feed, the more powerful they are from them, and the more powerful the star-blessed are, the more powerful the vampires are, and just amazing. It's a bit enemies to lovers. So the main character is, I mentioned, is star-blessed, and she is going to marry the crown's prince, but she feels this connection to his younger brother, who's kind of he's the spare pretty much, and just not very accepted by society. But just absolutely amazing. I can't wait to read the rest of the series. I'm going to order it in paperback because I absolutely loved it. So the next two books I'm going to recommend are both series, and they're not entirely vampire romance. They are fae romances, but they have vampires in them, so I'm going to count them. So the first is going to be Zodiac Academy. The second one is the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac Academy. So Ruthless Boys comes some years before Zodiac Academy. So in the Ruthless Boys, the main female character is the vampire, and I don't know, I just really like the setup of these worlds. I think they're so unique and so cool. You could say whatever, either you love or you hate this book series. Say what you want about them, but these world building is amazing. It is some of the coolest world building I've ever read before. So in Ruthless Boys, it is a reverse harem. Why choose? And she is a vampire. In the Zodiac Academy, one of the Vega twins boyfriends is a vampire. Lance Orion just has my heart. Oh my god, I love that man. And it doesn't help that he's a vampire, so sweet. The next book I'm going to recommend is King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair, and it's been a while since I've read this book, so I don't remember a whole lot about it, and there's only one book of the series out so far, but I remember really enjoying it. I really like Scarlett St. Clair's writing. I think she's a very talented writer, and she handles certain elements very well. What I do remember is that she's trying to kill the vampire king. She has to marry him, and it just kind of goes from there. And I'm sure I will reread it when the second book does come out. I ended up giving it 4 stars, so like obviously I enjoyed it, but I've just read a lot of books since then, and I read this when it like first came out, but I like am counting down the days till the next book. So the next book I'm going to recommend is actually not really a romance. It is more on the lit side, and it is A Dowry of Blood. Absolutely phenomenal. It is beautifully written. It's on the shorter side as well. Basically, it is a letter from Dracula's lover, and it is like polyamorous relationships and abusive relationships, and just, it was absolutely incredible, like simply amazing, and I just really loved reading it. It was very moving and just simply stunning, and I just think it was really, really great. And so it does make the list. Again, it is not a romance really, because it does highlight the abusive side of certain relationships, but just amazing. The next book I'm going to recommend, again, isn't exactly vampires, but I'm gonna recommend it anyways. So it is A Ship of Bones and Teeth. Absolutely amazing. Again, it's by Karina Halley, and I just have loved her writing as of recent. Simply amazing. Oh my god, let me tell you. So it is a Little Mermaid retelling, and there's pirates and mermaids, so it's kind of like this after what happens in The Little Mermaid. So good. Oh my gosh. Captain Bones is freaking awesome. But the captain and the crew of the ship are technically vampires. They call them like lampreys or something. I think I said that right. But it was really, really great, and I had a really good time reading it. The next book I'm going to recommend is A Hunger Like No Other by Kresley Cole. This one I was not a huge fan of. I think I gave it 2 stars because it feels more like a Highlander romance than a vampire romance, but I still really liked it. Certain elements of it at least. I'm not a huge fan of Highlander romances, but I did want to throw this on here just in case anyone was interested in like that kind of vibe, but it's just not my vibe. And I usually like Kresley Cole's writing, so I thought the writing was good, but certain elements of it I just didn't care for. The next book I'm going to recommend is Shadow Kiss, and I recently read this one as well. It's about this girl, her boyfriend is murdered, and a vampire named Sebastian kidnaps her, and she is trying to survive in this world where pretty much mortals are nothing, and people are after her, vampires are after her, and she's trying to kind of figure out why. But this was a really, really great book. I enjoyed it. It felt a little bit more political towards the end, which I really liked, and like political elements of this world. It was really, really great, and I am really excited to read the rest of the series. I believe it is a trilogy, so I'm gonna probably finish it out in October. The last book I have to recommend is Blood Mercy by Bella Roth. This has been like my obsession series this year. I've read like 4 of these so far this year, and they're pretty hefty, and I just love this book. I love the world building, I love the characters. It is very slow burn. Basically, it's about this girl named Cassia, and she is trying to overthrow her tyrant of a father, and there are these people called Hesperians, which is their equivalent of a vampire pretty much, and she teams up with Leo, who is a Hesperian, and they're trying to kind of come to terms with their differences and overthrow the kingdom and put a new political system in place to kind of better Cassia's kingdom. And of course they fall in love, and it's very slow burn. Like literally it takes them forever to do anything in this book, to like admit emotions and like just get anywhere pretty much. But I simply just love these books so much. I think Bella Roth has just an amazing writing style. I really love this book. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite fantasy romance novels, just because of how like slow burn and just the political elements behind it and the world building in it is just all simply fantastic. It has very classical fantasy elements, so absolutely amazing. 5 stars for all of them. Alright, and that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any other vampire romance recommendations, please let me know in the comments below. I'm dying to read them, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Goodbye!